Okay, guys, this is a video from Wrestling Flashback, the channel, and love their channel. Make sure you check them out. The link to the video here will be in the description, of course. This is top 10 wrestlers whose promos got way too real. They make great compilations. It's a lot of fun to watch these individual clips, pause it, have a conversation about what we think about what we saw. I'll relate any stories I can if I had anything similar happen to me or buddies in the business. I just got noticing, too, before we start, looks like I was working again, and it kind of looks like I went to Blade, and got scared or something. I got a nice. That's called the bad razor blade of my disposable razor blades in the bunch.
I'm still here because you can't do your job.
I remember that one. I was just gonna say that's Roman. I remember that one. That was rough because if you guys remember, Roman was off to a rocky start, especially on the mic. It wasn't there for him. Now he's gotten smooth as hell with it, but yeah.
Has the ability to
That's
blend
tough.
talent's real lives into his storylines like no other form of scripted entertainment.
I think the WWE's willingness to do things like that is phenomenally good for the business.
I want to be the catalyst for that
Oh,
change.
save me. Really, what you mean is you will only accept change if it means CM Punk is on top.
You gonna punch me in the face? Or do you gotta go ask your wife permission first?
Today we're
See, and what I like is you're never 100% sure what's a work and what's a shoot. You can make a good guess. I'm thinking like something like that with Punk. That's got to be majority shoot, because the flipping the tie in his face, although in Triple H's position, I don't know if he really can, would generally get you punched in the face.
to explore how the sport
If
does
it was-
this by
if it
highlighting
was
those who
a shoot.
frequently bring up real-life dramas in promos.
The only reason you were WWE champion for a year
I
is because
JBL.
Triple H didn't want to work Tuesday.
As we
Come on. That's a pretty good burn. You have to. Now that was the real deal. That's pretty good. I like that. I love the fact. See, a lot of old timers like me, I'm as old timers get. Lament the kayfabe eras, that we don't try and pretend. The business doesn't purport itself to be real anymore. I think it's much better this way. I think
cover
you
the
can.
top 10 pipe
I
bomb
think you
promo cutters
bring the
in wrestling.
crowd into
Number
it so
10,
much more
Samoa
this
Joe.
way.
Joe has often
Let them
been
be a
as
part.
savage
Hell,
cutting promos as he has been in the ring, especially when his ammo on the
we're
mic
seeing it
is
right now, how
loaded with
crowds are
reality.
dictating
Like when Joe shot
storylines. I
Scott
think that's
Hall for
good
no showing a pay-per-view in TNA.
in the WWE.
Chico, kiss my ass. You punked out and you're a punk.
Joe also took aim at Kevin Nash, which later led to a physical confrontation backstage.
TNA is the men who come in here, risk their lives on scaffoldings, on wires, while others show up and pad their pensions.
I said, was that?
I like Samoa Joe. I don't think that's always necessarily a fair thing. Wrestling should be based on if you can bring in the money, and if a guy, I don't even know the whole context of that. You can get the idea, obviously, from what he said. If Nash is bringing in fans, if he's helping to sell merch, and he's part-time doing it,
That
I don't
from
think that's a big deal.
Russo, or was that yours? Smirked at me, he said that was mine. So I fucking open hand smacked him. And he just fucking looked at me. So I smacked him again.
Some of Joe's best mic work in WWE
Really? I'm surprised Joe didn't do anything in response. Really? That's interesting.
came during his feud with Jeff Hardy, where the Samoan submission machine mocked Hardy's past addiction issues.
Because for as many times as this man has made you get up out of your seat, there are just as many times, Jeff, that you let all these people down. Well, it can be really rough
That's a fair rip.
this time of year. And we both know, Jeff, that eventually your demons, Jeff, they're going to come running right back and they're going to start controlling you. How's it going, Jeff? Trust that you and the family enjoyed the holidays. It's always nice to create new memories, perhaps even make up for some of the ones that you've destroyed. You can.
Oh, that's good. Now, see, when I was working, and we had regular crew guys, we traveled together. There weren't really any rules in that I had anyway. Listen, if you can rip on me with whatever, I don't give a shit. If you can rip on me with whatever and it'll help get the show over that night, help get the crowd into it, Hit me with it. I don't care. It's now it's an entirely different thing if I know someone's going out there looking to. They want to start shit. They want to shoot. They want to go. That's fine. That's different. But I mean, if you're doing it in the context of trying to get the crowd into it, trying to get the crowd to hate them or hate me, and it works, go for it. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
Choose to have 14 of these and wake up in jail. That is, if you're fortunate enough to wake up at all. Keep on talking.
Yow.
Hey, do me a favor. Why don't you act like this is an AA?
But going at this angle is, I don't know Jeff Hardy. I can't imagine he would have an issue with it. It's all out there.
And you shut your mouth while I'm sharing with the group.
Number 9, Jim Cornette. Cornette made a career out
That's
of
pretty
talking
good.
fans into the building.
All right.
We've also seen him take personal issues as well as his own real-life opinions and express them on television.
Just a couple of years ago, I left my home in Tennessee and I moved to Connecticut, which is like trading a Hawaiian vacation for a bed in a cancer ward. Will Jim Cornette come back to these?
Excuse, that's a pretty good line. Vacation for bed in the cancer. All right, that's a solid line. I get asked all the time. I think anybody who is in the business does what I think of Jim Cornette. It's not real complicated with me. I think his knowledge in the business is amazing. I think he can be entertaining to listen to, and I also think he's kind of a dick. He's not the kind of guy I could picture myself wanting to hang out with. But he's the kind of guy I could see myself wanting to listen to.
To Connecticut, which is like trading a Hawaiian vacation for a bed in a cancer ward. Will Jim Cornette come back to the ECW arena? I'd rather go skinny dipping in a septic tank of a slaughterhouse and come back to that.
His famous shoot promos on Raw in 1997 were living proof.
6, 1, 2, 3 kid. His name's Sean Waltman, whatever you want to call him. As far as I'm concerned, the only reason that he's employed is because the other guys think that he's funny when he gets drunk and throws up on himself.
I saw that one. That's tough. That's pretty rough. And again, I try and put myself, if I was in that situation, would that make me mad? No, it's wrestling. Part of the business. I don't know. That wouldn't piss me off.
They were in keeping
if
with the
I were
WWF
Sean
shift
Waltman.
towards a more realistic product at the time, and they occurred just weeks before the official start of the Attitude Era.
Wrestling fans watching a wrestling program want to see wrestlers wrestle. That's easy. It's not too hard to understand.
Cornette spat bullets, taking aim at WCW.
So they sit around all day listening to people on the internet, and the people on the internet wouldn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch.
The NWO.
Oh, that's an old one. But see, now that's where, and at the time I get why he was saying that. I disagree with that sentiment. I think when you listen to the people on the internet, again, as I said, just like what's going on right now with the whole Roman, Cody, Rock thing, I think that's good for business. You're bringing the fans into part of the storyline. I think that's amazing. Excuse me, guys. Let me make sure it's nothing important. Hold on just a second. I'll get right back to the video. This is kind of important. I got to take care of this right away. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. That was Brax. It was kind of important. I just had to take care of something with him.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the NWO was like a bunch of guys meeting out in the backyard in a clubhouse in a tree. And on a personal note to Hulk Hogan, you are a household word, but so is garbage. And it stinks when it gets old, too.
Roddy.
Oh, some of those, now, like with Cornette, some of those I think were good. Some of them, that last one's a freaking dad joke. As far as I'm concerned, not exactly a cutting edge promo, but again, I've got nothing against Cornette, unless you call thinking somebody's kind of a douche is something against them. That's just an opinion.
Piper.
By the 10-minute mark, they were sucking wind so bad, the first 3 rows passed out of oxygen deprivation. Would have been funny if it wasn't so sad.
Shawn Michaels.
Well, Shawn
Wow.
Michaels is still the single most talented athlete in wrestling today inside the ring. But outside, he's an adolescent, obnoxious jerk who takes his tights and goes home if he doesn't get his way.
And sports
I don't think that's unfair at all. That's one of those things that even if Sean didn't like it, so.
columnist Phil Mushnick, who regularly badmouthed wrestling.
Yeah,
I said, go to hell,
Mushnick.
Phil Mushnick. And
Mushnick's
try to
a
reform
douche.
things down there, because we're doing just fine up here without you.
Jim was even taking jabs at Vince Russo all the way then, as Jim referred to Vince as a Yankee.
Phony teeth, phony hair, and a phony tan. And running the WWF, you got a whole office building full of Yankees from New York City that wouldn't know a wrestling match if it bit them.
Threatening to kill.
Wouldn't know a wrestling match if it bit him. See, I think like I say, with Cornette, he's an interesting one because, again, he knows the business, knows it so well, and has so many great stories. But sometimes I think his promos and stuff, he becomes a caricature of himself. Does that make any sense?
Me
What do you guys think of Cornette? Let me know in the comments.
threatening to kill my entire family. Bart Gunn's gonna be a star now. I want to kill you. I would like to just squeeze you until your britches are full and your eyeballs pop out.
Number 8, Steve Austin. The foundations of the Stone Cold character were established in ECW at the end of 1994.
Yeah, Cornette, like I say, in this context, as far as getting way too real, I don't think he's necessarily gets way too real. I think there are a lot of times that Cornette just is playing a character. And you could make the point they're all playing a character, but I think you understand what I'm saying. He's a lot of things he says are to push Jim Cornette.
He took aim at the politics in WCW.
Okay, that's a good line.
The politics in WCW kept the biggest potential superstar in wrestling on the goddamn ground.
The bookers who
Okay.
kept him in the mid card.
He's got every right. I mean, that happened. That's a quality shoot.
Yeah, take me back to WCW. Let me be a mid-card wrestler. Let me just scramble around. Let me get no dues. Don't give me nothing. Treat me like a piece of garbage. Feed me garbage.
The older wrestlers hogging the spotlight.
I was never allowed to reach past mid-card status in the WCW, brother.
You can't blame him for being annoyed by it, and hey, it makes for good TV. That's a good shoot.
Worst of all, Eric Bischoff, who had fired an injured Austin by FedEx.
The circumstances dictated
Wow.
I had to let him go. I didn't have any choice. He hadn't found that mark yet.
A FedEx copy of your termination notice is on its way to your home in Texas. My world.
I like the fact. Hey, again, that's the business. Stuff happened. Use it. Whatever. Use it once the cameras are rolling. I think I saw a lot of Austin when he was stunning Steve Austin and his prior iterations. I would disagree with old Eric there. I think Austin always had the potential to be a top guy. I think he was misused.
Misimpression of the biggest piece of trash I ever laid my eyes on. Brent couldn't be here, so I had my secretary leave a message on his answer machine, and when he calls me, I'm gonna fire him on the phone just like I did Austin.
Number 7, Triple H.
That's pretty
Some
good.
of Triple H's best work is when he
He's not gonna
bursts
get
the lines
over it.
between
That's
work
cool.
and a shoot, such as his original The Game promo,
Oh,
where he
jeez.
spoke about being punished for his role in the curtain call.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I saw this, and I think this is a case of, again, and I like that they're using the real life stuff that happened, and everybody was pissed off at the time, but they're using it to further
I walked in the ring
storylines
say
and
goodbye
angles.
to my friends, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels. Who got punished for that, JR? Me.
As Triple H
Right.
became more of a
No,
main event
it's-
player, it meant more freedom to say
That's
what
the
he
business
wanted in
getting
his
smart.
promos.
If it wasn't for me, you'd be nothing. You got that? I made you. You know well I can break you. Why don't you run along to the back and hang out
That's
with the
harsh
other
considering
curtain
the
jerkers
circumstances.
while the main event guys stay in here and handle our business.
By the time he got into power,
That's a good promo. I wouldn't call that getting way too real. Hell, I've heard we've done promos like that in the indies. You get one of the young guys, one of the guys who's just barely out of working the battle royals only, and hit him with the go know your role, go in the back type thing. The big boys are playing.
his promos were even more ruthless.
I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you never drew a dime, buddy. Guys like
That's harsh. That hurts.
Edge, Rob Van Dam. If any of those guys had been the face of the WWE, we'd all be working for Ted Turner right now. Without
Oh, well, that's not
the
bad.
WWE,
Now, in fairness, I'll tell you guys right up because we talk about him all the time. I'm not a fan of Punk. Again, don't get me wrong. I have nothing but respect for anybody who makes it in the business. But if we're speaking as fans, no. Great worker inside the ring. I wouldn't put him up there with the best ever, but a very good worker inside the ring. but just not worth the baggage to me.
Bomb
The whining and
you
complaining and
really mean
bitching.
nothing.
And regardless if you legit believe
Not
the
wrong.
things he said,
Why, if you're a millionaire, you're evil. If you're a billionaire,
don't
you're
know
the
this one.
Antichrist. I would rather eat well than sleep well.
it played into the online
That's that's an excellent line. I would rather eat well than sleep well. And that's a good way to get yourself some heel heat. That's a good line. I'll give Triple H that one.
The Hunter held others
That-
down
that's
so he
pretty
could
good.
stay on top.
At WrestleMania, I put an end to your dreams and I bury Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna tweet.
See, now again, and I do think Triple H is a driving force behind that. I like that. He's incorporating what the fans feel into the promos
my
and addressing it
displeasure.
directly.
And if that doesn't work, me and my friend Mark, we're gonna stop watching.
Number 6, shoot promo.
Okay, let's pause it right there. We'll break these up because I like to talk about each individual one they bring us. But again, this is from Wrestling Flashback. Make sure and support them. Good wrestling videos. They're great compilations. This is fun. You guys let me know in the comments what you think of everything we talked about, individually, the individual wrestlers, individual promos, and let me know if you want to see more of these.